Hi, I'm John Avildsen and I directed Rocky. What you're about to see is some of my 8mm, regular 8mm, footage of makeup tests and the fighting tests that we did during the course of the preparation for the filming. The 8mm footage proved invaluable. I was able to show it to the actors so they could see how much more work they had to do on the fighting to make it look real. We used it to help Sylvester lose some weight because I'd zero in on his waistline, and I said, "They're going to be looking at you. They're not going to be looking at me." So he took that to heart. I started using 8mm footage when I first started making features, using it as a blueprint, a sketch pad. Shooting things with a little 8mm camera allowed me to try this size lens, that angle, this lighting condition. I found it very helpful. When I first started preparing for Rocky, I hadn't seen prize fights and didn't know much about it. So I thought the first thing I should do was look at all the other movies that had been shot on prize fighting, about prize fighters. Well, I looked at everything I could get my hands on, and I was impressed with how phony the fighting looked. And I figured, well, if we're going to make a movie about fighting, the fighting should look real. So when it came time to rehearse, what I wanted to rehearse probably more than anything was the fighting, because I knew that it wasn't going to look good unless the fighting looked good. So I was able to prevail upon the producers to give us a lot of rehearsal time for the fight. So a couple of weeks before we started shooting the movie, I got Sylvester and Carl into the ring to see what it was going to look like. Well, they got in the ring, and one guy said, "I'm going to do this," and the other guy said, "No, I'm going to do that," and I realized that we weren't going to get anywhere. So I suggested to Sylvester, I said, "Why don't you go home and write this thing out? Left and a right, an uppercut, you fall down, he falls down, whatever you want, write it out, and bring it back, and we'll learn that. And we'll learn it like a ballet, and we'll be choreographed. And we'll do the same thing day after day after day until we really got it down. So when you do this, he'll do that, and we'll put in a big whack on the soundtrack, and people will believe it." So he liked that idea, and the next day I think he came back with 32 pages of lefts and rights, and that's what we learned. And we didn't shoot the fighting stuff until the end of the schedule, which was a pretty short schedule anyway. So we had about 6 weeks to prepare the fighting. Now, and I also showed the footage to Bill Conti, and I had a little 8mm projector that I could slow down, and I'd show him that and play some Beethoven's Sixth Symphony on the tape recorder, and explain that this was the kind of feeling that I wanted, a classical sound to move the fighting up. And he liked that idea, and that's what we did. The actors were very eager to see my 8mm footage as soon as it came back from the drugstore. And we'd sit there and they'd say, "Oh yeah, I got to do this more. Oh, look at that looked real," and so forth. So it was a very handy guide, and a lot better than waiting until it got shot for real and we're sitting there in the dailies cringing. So we did all our cringing with the 8mm, and by the time we shot it big time, it looked good. So we're going to run some of this home movie 8mm footage for you now. Unfortunately, in those days, it was silent. So that's how you're going to see it now. And we're just going to let it run, and you take a look at it, and you can imagine what we were thinking maybe when we saw it for the first time. Now, as I said earlier, when we first started looking at this 8mm footage, a lot of the things that you've seen were the actual blows from the first round, second round, the 14th, 15th round, and you may want to compare the various rounds with this 8mm footage, and you'll see that the uppercut in the left, where Sylvester did this and Carl did that, you'll see the genesis of those blows on the 8mm footage. I know I find it amusing to see the incredible progress that they made from the beginning to the end.